Bow down to a man who ain't Christ. Cost my life, did cut my line. Fuck like a big wall and big dome. First come nigga, ain't no bustin' my pipe. I'm like a big dog when I'm pissed off. Ain't doing all that barking, nigga. I'll play nice.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anything Goes TV 817. I'm your host, David.
And I'm Nino.
We back from vacation, everybody. What's been going on? Shout out to my main man, Order Dunn. Keep grinding. My man, Clint, Bruce, and everybody on the East and West Coast, and especially all the ladies.
Yes, sir.
We glad to be back. We missed you. And now we ready to tackle all of these issues. Today we talking about Deon Sanders, everybody. Deon Sanders is in the news again. He had a press conference where he treated the media a little harsh. They asked him some questions and he didn't want to reply. Now remember, this is Deon Sanders, the man that turned around a Colorado team that hadn't won but one game. He made them relevant, and everybody's talking about him. Now, Deion Sanders, he's a man that's been in the media for some time. You know, we know all about all of his escapades, and we're going to get into those. But we want to talk about is the press conference and how he handled the media and how he didn't want to answer questions. So I'm going to let Nino start this off and tell everybody exactly what's been going on here.
All right. It's good to be back, fans. First of all, Coach Prime, I want to give my props to you. You came to Colorado, took a program that was on the brink of really just being deleted or not no more, and you gave it a lifeline and you gave it a heartbeat. But now, Coach Prime, come on, man. You know, you got to be professional about this. You say that you don't want to deal with the CBS or you don't want to deal with the Denver Post as a reporter asks you something like that. Now, really, come on now. Is that you're a leader of men. Don't let your pride get in your way. Don't be sensitive like that. You know what I'm saying? If you got something against somebody, you're supposed to hold it in. Don't come like that because you have your men looking at you. I believe you reacted in the wrong way. I believe when you think about it and you go over it again, you probably will react in a better way. What you think about it, David?
Well, I think if he were to think about it and go over it again, he'll do it the same way, maybe even worse. Now, he said that CBS, some kind of way, have something against him. We got to get into that and find out what that's all about. Mm-hmm. But he has something against CBS, and that's an issue all to his own. But what I don't understand is the arrogance of Deon Sanders. This man has been arrogant his whole life, and basically, he's a terrible football coach. I don't know why everybody thinking one year you win one game, the next year you win four. Wow, you got a great coach there. I didn't see anything, no greatness about coaching this past year. But that's something we're going to get into a little later also. But no, I don't think, Nino, that he would have answered it any different. I believe he's very prideful, and he's hurt behind something that CBS said. And if I'm not mistaken, CBS said he probably was going to have the second worst record, or he may be the second worst coach. I don't know, but it's something like that. And they did that because he's entering into a tougher conference right now. And from what he showed last year, we wouldn't think any different because he had a dismal second half of the season. What you think about that, Nino?
Oh, yes. When he went 0 for 6 down the stretch, and as you said about the conference, but like I say, Coach Prime, you come into this like you come to the Big 12 like the Big 12 don't have ballers, like the Big 12 don't have teams that can ball and play. Hey, man, you looking at it wrong. You should be just like, okay, I had a decent time with the portal. I had a pretty good recruiting class. If the man did, or the reporters did come to you and say, well, you're the second worst team, why don't you just take it and say, well, as a motivation and say, well, you know, we're going to try to improve, do our thing, and then we'll just see where the chips fall, and we'll just let everything all hang out.
I just want to know, was the man lying? I would be mad if the man was lying on me. The man's not lying on you, Deon. You proved that you aren't that good of a coach. Let's look at what you did last year. You had a total collapse. Now, what Deon want to point in his favor is that he brought notoriety to the program. Revenues are up, ticket sales are up. According to certain information, that the program is now valued at $200 million. That is what Deon is hanging his hat on, not his ability as a coach. And that is what is at issue here, not your fame and notoriety that brought that type of stuff to the school. But that all will fade if you don't win. Now, you mad because you don't have thick skin, for one. They made an opinion. That was their opinion. Prove them wrong. You know why it hurt so much, Deon? Because it was the truth. You're a terrible coach. We saw it last year. You're a one-trick pony. You hang all your hopes in your son. You have so much nepotism there that you alienated your team where you lost half your roster. Everybody left you. A line turned against you because you blamed them for your son's shortcomings. Let's just be straight. You take up for your kids like they can do no wrong, and they doing wrong. Shadua screwed up all year, but yet you blamed it on everybody else. And you don't think people know that? You don't think people are listening? And then when they criticize you on it, you get mad. You turn into the baby that you've always been, a sore loser. And no, you're not a leader of men, because just let's talk to the people in your locker room. Nino, I've heard stories about what's going on in that locker room.
Oh yeah, I'm just finna say something about that. They say it's real rumblings in the halls of the Colorado Buffaloes, and where you know there's smoke, there's fire. So something definitely is going on, and as was said too, so many guys hit the transfer portal, like Dylan Edwards, who I think was a pretty solid kid, and everything. So definitely it is something going on. It even been saying that it's possible lawsuits might be coming out.
Well, let's look at the cornerback that you lost. One of the highly ranked cornerbacks, Komani.
Mm-hmm.
Tell a story about what's going on there, Nino, what you might have heard.
Well, Komani, what I heard about it, Komani, you know, he was a top cornerback coming out of Florida and everything. And Deion and Colorado, Coach Prime, just could never give the man his chance. I always said he didn't want to practice. I always said he wasn't a student of the game and things like this. But I have heard that Deon's son, Shiloh, is coming off like an enforcer. Even at times was slapping Kwamani. And Kwamani made a remark that I don't want to say, but hey man, that's just too much right there. Now, how's your son gonna slap somebody like he's some kind of enforcer? And who is Shiloh Sanders? Is he proven?
Well, he's the son of Deon, nepotism again. Now, Deon, if we see it, the team see it. I don't know what you see. You walk around in those dark glasses, not acting like a coach, acting like you are some type of movie star or somebody that's trying to get the limelight for itself. During the press conference, you showed a lack of class. A lack of class when asked a simple question. Now, you're not going to answer CBS's reporters' questions because you're mad because they said that you and your team probably is going to be the second worst team in the conference. And a lot of other experts say the same thing. Now, what are you going to do? Ban questions from every network when somebody says something about you that you don't like? You see, you just open a can of worms. But I've been saying it all along. After you get past all the lightning in the bottle and all the hoopla that go along with Deon Sanders, you're going to find out he's nothing but a big clown. He's an embarrassment once he get out there because of the way he acts. He acts like his kids can do no wrong. He can do no wrong. He shows a lack of respect to other coaches and to other players. I've heard the way he conducts his practices, the way he talks to people, and he wonders why people say the things about him that they say, how polarizing he is. He just proved it in a press conference.
Absolutely.
Now, one other thing I would like to say. Let's just look at the history of Deon Sanders. Let's go back to his playing days. Let's go back to how he treated the media then when they said things that he didn't like. Nino had brought up an episode back when he might have poured water on a reporter. Nino, Bring that to our
Oh,
attention.
yes. Tim McCarver, this is when Deion was trying to be the two-way phenomenon. Y'all remember? I think he was playing with the Atlanta Falcons, and then he was playing with the Atlanta Braves or whatever. I think so. Either the San Francisco 49ers, but one of them. And anyway, the late, great Tim McCarver was on the call, and he was just saying that he think Deion was just trying to do too much. He's trying to be too polarizing and everything. And as I remember it, Deion paraphrased it like this. My mama called and said, that man was talking about me. And so Deion, the pettiness of him, took a bucket of water and threw on Tim McCarver.
A bucket of water?
Bucket of water and threw on Tim McCarver, in which Tim McCarver replied, it takes a hell of a man. You're a hell of a man, Deion. You're a hell of a man.
And this happened live on TV?
Live on TV. Where's McCarver? Where's McCarver?
Don't take our word for it. Pull it up.
Pull it up.
Pull it up. This man you call a hero, he shows no class. He even embarrassed his own mother doing his acceptance speech for the Hall of Fame. Look it up. Deion made her feel like she didn't do her job as a mother when he was trying to make it feel like he done everything for her. He made a remark about how embarrassed and ashamed of his mother he was because other kids were going to school wearing Jordans and good tennis shoes and he couldn't because his mother, I believe, worked in white folks' houses cleaning them or something like that and couldn't afford for him to wear the best shoes.
A single parent, David, and I don't mean to cut you off. You know why it hurts me? Because I was raised by a single mama. So that lady was doing all she can.
No, go ahead and finish the
No,
story.
no,
because
I
one of
just
the
want to
things
say
about it,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
because we both might have saw that the same day, at the same time,
Mhm.
because we keep up with this type of stuff,
Mhm.
and we was proud that Deion got in,
Mm-hmm.
and we was ashamed when he opened his mouth.
Yes.
We was ashamed when he opened his mouth.
Absolutely.
Even with the part trying to put a bandana on that statue's head.
Mm-hmm. And they
Sure.
said, no way.
Showed lack
No
of
way,
class and
no way.
silliness. He brought his kids from was a school called Truth,
Uh-huh.
where when he had his charter school, he brought people with him. But what he did was embarrassed his mother in a feeble attempt to try to make himself look great. He tried to lift himself up like he did something great by buying his mother a house, by doing things for his mother after he made it famous and rich. But yet he said those words.
Them insidious remarks.
Those insidious remarks. Those words. I was ashamed of my mother. When can anybody make that statement that you were ashamed of your mother when your mother did everything she could for you?
Yes.
Worked those hard jobs, and then after you did all of that build up on how hard she worked, and then you turned around and said you were ashamed of her. Tell us about the other episodes that we noticed about when he had his shows, how he treated his wife.
Oh, how his wife was, I remember the one time when, DeAndre was young and everything, and, a young man came and wanted to, just court DeAndre, or just want to meet Deion and whatever. And first thing he came up with, I know you'll be a father and you got a young daughter and you want to be impressionable. Hey, what you doing in my house? Hey, who is this all in my house? Prime, you come off as this dude that think you this all up here and everybody is beneath you. Man, calm down, man. You're a human too. You come off too arrogant, too volatile. You come off like yo don't stink.
And it do. Everybody know who you are. We know the greatness of you on the field.
Absolutely.
So we're not gonna talk about that. We're not stupid. We seen what you did. The greatest cornerback of all time, arguably could be the greatest athlete.
Yeah.
That ain't what we talking about. We talking about your attitude, the way you act, the way you treat people.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. On your birthday, you did this. On your birthday. Now, your son is it Shiloh, the one that has a lawsuit pending?
Yes,
violence and all
$11 million lawsuit in which he got into it with supposed to be a security guard, which my research I done, I don't mean to cut you off, David,
Go ahead.
it was that Deion had even talked to him and said, hey, calm Shiloh down. And then when the man did that, Shiloh went ballistic on him, and then man had bodily harms. I think had a hell of a hospital bill, and so now that's what $11 million lawsuit, in which now Deion is even getting kind of critical of that because that's coming out. Hey man, listen, what you do is what's gonna come out. But I can see Shiloh is definitely the replica of Deion. I can see him like, because Deion always says Shiloh will swing. Shiloh will swing, which means Shiloh is really Deion too, if you look at it, more than Bucky or Shador.
Deon, you are the biggest nut in the business. If you don't think that the other players on the team don't see your favoritism and your nepotism towards your own kids. We know as fans and coaches that all players are not treated equally. We know LeBron James and stars are treated different than someone who's not a star. You don't have that on your team. No one is proven. You have everybody thinking your son is the number one pick in the draft. You've made a statement that you will pull an Eli if your son is not drafted by the right team. You're going to mess around, your son not going to even get drafted. Your mouth is going to talk him out of it. You see, one thing, Deon, a lot of people don't know is when you was coaching Little League football, a lot of people encountered you. Different places you went in. And the majority of them do not have a favorable opinion of you. The things you've done in different places, it's followed you all the way to the television station. So it's not like people are dumping on Deon, and it's not like, oh, black people are getting on Deon. No, black people can get on Deon because black people are black people. We have opinions, and I'm giving you mine. And my opinion is based on things you've done and encounters. See, Deon, you got to remember, you done encountered a lot of people you've forgotten about.
Yes.
And you did a lot of things to people that they won't forget because they were glad to see you, and when they met you, well, half-heartedly, they regretted it because the arrogance of Deon came out. You're not a likable person. You're not. You're a great football player, but as a person and as a coach, you're terrible. And I'll keep saying that. Your record proves it. You just winning now on your notoriety about bringing in players who don't know you. You don't win in they living room and lied to them like you did Komani, one of the best players coming out of high school, get up there with you, and he can't do no right because he will be showing up your son in the secondary. See, Nino, it's a little personal because I feel the pain of those kids up there. I felt the pain of those kids that left when Deon came in with his arrogance, the way he said, I'm bringing in Louis Vuitton luggage. Y'all get on the way out. There's better ways to talk to people.
There's better ways to talk to people. And you got to think about it like this, Dave. The same one that Deon is dumping on, who you think supported you? Why you think you in the position where you are, brother? Why you think you in the position where you are? I'm like, Dave, you are great. You the great, but man, your personality stinks, my brother. It stinks. It stinks, man. You don't have to be like that, man. You don't have to be like that. Ain't nobody gonna take nothing from you. Ain't nobody want nothing from you. Ain't nobody want nothing from you, man. You don't have to be like that at all.
You sensitive. You don't have no thick skin.
None at all.
And you think anybody say something about you, they wrong, and you gonna do whatever you can to destroy them, or your son's gonna jump in it, and this and that. Deon, I got news for you. A lot of people say you stink. And yes, your shit do stink. Everybody know that. From what you're doing right now and the way you treated the media, you're proving everybody right about you. And they floating your name at USC. I don't know who floating it. I can't understand how. USC don't need your notoriety. USC needs a defensive coach, a coach that can help Lincoln Riley with defense. He's a good offensive coach. You're not a good offensive coach. That was you the one-trick pony. Once your son went down, you had no answers. You had him playing with, quote-unquote, a broken back because you don't have a backup quarterback ready because you don't want nobody to outshine your son. Don't you think people see that? Don't you think people see when you run your mouth trying to promote your son? If your son is good, he don't need promoting. Fans going to promote him. People see. Who they going to believe, you or they lying eyes, Deon? Nino, I don't know what to say about this guy.
I mean, well, I can look at it right now. And then he talking about, well, I don't want to coach in pro. I can see why. Because, you know, the powers of being in the NFL going to get you up out of here with that rigmarole. Man, and then back to the USC thing. No, man, they don't need you at USC. You don't need to bring that negative energy to Hollywood. No way they going to need that, man. I mean, come on, bro. You come on, man. And then what gets me about it, you holler so spiritual, and God is this, and God has brought you this, and God has brought you that. Has God brought you to be how you be towards people with your personality? Because I'm like, sometimes it's like you being a hypocrite. You having a double standard.
Well, Deon, when we come to this, don't try to use your faith to make you upright and righteous over someone else. No, stand on your merit on what we're talking about, okay? Because we're not talking about your faith. We're talking about the way you act as a player toward the media, as a person toward the media. You're a coach. Do you tell your players to act like that? What would you do if your players act like that toward the media? I know they have rules of conduct for coaches and people in the media and players. What are you doing? You're teaching your kids to act like hooligans out there. You're supposed to win and lose with dignity. You should be able to answer questions in adversity. You know that. As much as you done been throughout your life in sports, you know that. But what happens is, again, once you get to a certain level, you think you bigger than everybody, you bigger than the game, you bigger than life. And you're not, Deon. Your playing days is over. Now you're being judged on what you're doing right now. Right now. And what you're doing right now is an embarrassment. What you did to those reporters now, you gave them enough ammo to mess with you all year. Which they're going to do.
You took the words right out of my mouth, David.
Well,
you took the words right out of my mouth. Because now it's open season now. It's open season now. They know that they can get under your skin. And you preach, oh, I want my players to be tough-minded, tough-skinned, physically, can go the distance. I want to be well-trained and everything. But doesn't example of leadership starts from the top? You telling your players what you want them to be, but your players can turn around and say, Coach, what are you? How are you cracking under? Because that just seemed to me like you was cracking under